must be Monday because we're back for another edition of Bishop's Breakdown, and this is episode 4. Let's break it down. Let's start this breakdown with the NBA. Can't talk NBA without talking the Detroit Pistons. They have won 9 in a row. That is the longest win streak since like 2008. They're 11-2. Cade's dropped 46-point triple-double with 12 rebounds, 11 assists, and 5 steals. The last 2 games, Cade's been out, but clearly that's no problem for the Pistons because that bench showed up and showed out. And their next game is later today against the Pacers, who they were in the finals last year, but without Tyrese Halliburton. Clearly they miss him. Clearly they need him because they're 1-11. 1-11. And the team that they lost to is the opposite, 11-1, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder, led by Shah, the reigning, defending MVP of the league. But back to the Pistons. My guess is when the Pistons are going to lose their next game because they can't win all the games. As much as I want them to, they're not going to win all the games. But based on their schedule, I say they lose to Milwaukee Bucks. My thought process is Giannis didn't play the last time they played, and the Bucks won. It's also based on if Cade and Durant can actually play, because it's going to be really difficult to keep up with the Bucks without Cade. So, the NBA Cup. When they first came up with the NBA Cup, I was thinking, that's a terrible, terrible idea. Like these basketball games with nothing at stake, like no championships, no playoff seedings, nothing. Those players, those $1 million athletes are not going to show up. But they proved me wrong, very wrong. Because not only they showed up, they showed out. Like the majority of these games are super competitive. Close games, overtime games, playoff caliber games this early in the season. And one little NBA nugget. Steph Curry. Chef Curry. Back-to-back 45-plus point games. There's only 2 people in NBA history who scored 45-plus in back-to-back games at 35 years or older. And that's Steph Curry and some guy, I don't know if you heard of him, Michael Jordan. Here's a quick Monday Night Football recap from last week. Boring game, but it was the Packers versus the Eagles. There was injuries left and right. People were getting banged up. People were sliding all over the field. But the Packers really missed Tucker Kraft. Like that middle of the field, they had no answer for it. And they had wide open opportunities if they had Kraft. The Packers defense made one mistake and left Devontae Smith wide open for the lone touchdown. Philly went for it on 4th down. Not sure about that call. The Packers offense seems lost. They don't have an identity right now. Seems like Mike LaFleur is throwing darts on a board and just hoping for the best. But hopefully they can turn things around because this division, this NFC North division, is going to be tough. It's going to be heavyweight fights, left and right, because the Bears are playing better. The Packers, and then you got the Lions, So, and the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings aren't great, but it's a pretty tough division. I'm gonna tell you that. Here's the WWE Raw recap. They started the tournament for the last time is now tournament. The winner of that tournament will face John Cena on December 12th in Washington, D.C. at Saturday night's main event to be John Cena's final opponent. So the first qualifying match on Raw was Damian Priest versus Rusev. It was a match. Mediocre at best, but honestly, the right guy won. Out of the two, Rusev has way more history with John Cena than Priest does. Rusev lost to him at WrestleMania. And I don't think he ever got his win back, and he's never been the same. So it would make sense for Rusev to really want to be that final opponent to put the nail in the career of John Cena. The second match was Sheamus taking on Nakamura. That was a decent match. Not the banger I thought when they announced it last week, but it was pretty good. And the right guy won. Sheamus. Same with Rusev. He won his first WWE Championship against John Cena in a tables match. So it makes sense that with his history that he would love to be that guy. So the Monday Night Raw started off with John Cena and Triple H in the ring. And they went back and forth explaining why they're there. This is Boston. This is John Cena's stomping grounds. This is his hometown. So John Cena gassed up the crowd and got them all excited. And then, boom, Dirty Dom comes out and goes right for Triple H and starts, jaw-jacking with them and going on and on and on and on. And then John Cena, tried to say something. So Dirty Dom looked at him and said, "Why don't you be quiet before I put you down, old man?" Great. But this obviously turned into an IC title match between John Cena and Dirty Dom. And this match was great. Like, Dom tried to do the Eddie Guerrero stick with the chair, making the noise, throwing at your opponent, and then laying down. So when the ref turns around, he's like, "Oh my God, you must have just got hit by a chair." So John Cena flopped with him. And then when the ref was checking on Dom, he looks at Dom and winks at him because you can't pull that one with John Cena. John Cena has been in the ring with Eddie Guerrero before. So that was something, it was awesome. That was pretty good storytelling. I really dig that. And then I was shocked. I was real shocked that John Cena won and finally became a Grand Slam champion. But not just any place, but in Boston, in a place that he calls home. And that's great for him. I'm glad they gave him an opportunity to be able to do something in his hometown during his retirement tour. But besides all that, there's not really any hype behind the women's War Game match. But I love the nod when CM Punk and Jay and Cody Rhodes was in the back, and Pierce comes up to him and says, "So, what do you want me to do about this?" And, he was like, "You know what I want." And he was like, "Regal." And the Regal comes out of nowhere and goes, "War Games." I popped. I'm going to tell you that. I popped. But here we go. There's going to be a mystery opponent for Solo Sikoa tonight on Raw. And my guesses are one of two people. Either the OTC Roman Reigns or Austin Theory. Austin Theory hasn't been on TV for months. Ever since he broke up, or the tag team A-Town Down Under with Grayson Waller ceased to exist as a tag team. He's just been gone. I've heard that he's been hurt. So that would make sense. But maybe this, he did go to WrestleMania as the IC champion and beat John Cena in WrestleMania. So I don't see why he shouldn't be in the tournament. But personally, I would love to see Joe Hendry. Oh, damn. I just said his name. So he definitely has appeared tonight, right? Friday Night SmackDown. Woo, woo, woo. Zack Ryder returns as the mystery opponent for L.A. Knight. Yeah. Epic moment. Like, I seen the emotions in his face. Like, I don't think he expected that crowd reaction because he's been gone for so long. But instead of coming back as his new character that he does on the Indies, Matt Cardona, he comes back as Zack Ryder with the gear, with the music. Even Michael Cole was popping for that, and I love to see it. Love to see it. And then Drew, because he was suspended by Nick Aldis, appears at the end of SmackDown and seems to be joining Team Vision for the War Games match. So as of right now, the men's War Games match looks like this. He got Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre taking on Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, and CM Punk, the world heavyweight champion. Usually they do 5-on-5. So my thoughts are, who's the fifth man? Here's two names, one for each side: Roman Reigns and Aleister Black. The women's War Game match doesn't have much fire behind it. And I don't really care about Charlotte Flair. I mean, it's true. Her and Rhea have a lot of bad history, so why would they trust each other? But it just seemed forced, and like she just ad-libbed it, and Rhea was like, you know? And Alexa Bliss is trying to be the bigger person, trying to like make the peace so they can take on, the heels. But I'd rather it be Team Becky Lynch, versus Team AJ Lee for the Women's War Games. With the members can be the same, they can be similar, but I think AJ Lee and Becky Lynch would do something that CM Punk and Seth Rollins were doing. Because they have the talent, the charisma, the experience to make this work and make you just can't wait for AJ Lee to take that title away from Becky Lynch. So here's the tournament participants, minus the mystery one that we're going to figure out tonight. But here's the brackets. Here's all the members, all 16, or 15. You got Rusev, Damian Priest, Sheamus, Shinsuke Nakamura, Jey Uso, The Miz, L.A. Knight. Yeah. You got Zack Ryder. You got Javon Evans. You got the Ring General Gunther. You got Solo Sikoa. You got I Am Him, Carmelo Hayes. You got Bronson Reed. You got Penta. You got Finn Balor. And they went through this big, long spiel about there could be people who in this tournament that don't work here. And out of all the 16 participants, you get one. And he used to work there. So I don't count that. I mean, it's dope. It's cool. But it's not that much of a surprise. So that seems real lackluster to me. But I guess that's my own fault. I expected way more. And my expectations shouldn't have been that high. So that's on me. So here's week 11 NFL. Sam Darnold, OMG. Like, 4 picks. Like, you look lost out there, my friend. Having that offense and still playing that bad. Like, you were having bad throws after bad throws. Throwing in double coverage, triple coverage. Throwing in the middle of the field right to defenders. Like, those passes were not what I expected from Sam Darnold, especially this season. Obviously, he's going to come back and play better. But if this is any indication, then that division is going to slip out of their fingertips real quick. And this was also the day of QB1s getting hurt. From Aaron Rodgers to Dylan Gabriels and even Jordan Love. Even Justin Herbert of the Chargers was banged up and had to get checked out multiple times during the game. But speaking of QBs, I'm going to spotlight 2 of them that went crazy on week 11. Josh freaking Allen. 6 touchdowns by himself. He threw for 3. He ran for 3. He had 317 yards passing and then 40 yards rushing, putting up 44 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in victory. And then some dude from Arizona Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett. Listen to these numbers. He went 47 for 57. 452 yards, setting the record for pass completions with 47. Yeah, he completed 47 passes on Sunday. But my dude, Christian McCaffrey, had something to say about all those numbers. Like, those are nice numbers. But he had 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving, and got the victory with Brock Purdy behind center. One more thing. Oh, geez. The Chargers got absolutely rocked by, quote-unquote, weak Jacksonville Jaguars team. A beatdown. 35-6. 35-6. Justin Herbert had 87 yards passing. Yeah, 87 yards passing for the entire game. I mean, he's a number one QB. He's not a rookie. He's not even a 2-year pro. He is a vet at this point. And other number one quarterbacks accidentally get 100 yards of passing in one quarter. He couldn't even get 100 in 4 quarters. And then the rookie for the Browns, Shedeur Sanders, had his chance. Granted, it was against the Ravens. Granted, it's Browns versus Ravens, which is always a rivalry game ever since the Browns left Cleveland and went to Baltimore to become the Baltimore Ravens. And he threw it a lot, but didn't show much. But in all fairness, he came in late, and when Dylan Gabriels went down with a concussion. So it's not on him, and this is not a litmus test of how good or how bad Sanders is. Give him a full game, and then you can say he's good or bad. I wouldn't take this. I would take this game that he had with a grain of salt. And he had signs of greatness, but he's a rookie. So maybe this is his rookie game, and the next game he's going to look like Peyton Manning or something, or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll see. I'm sure the outcry will be for Sanders to continue with the rest of the season. What's the worst that can happen? Now, Kansas City Chiefs, they usually dominate against teams. Like, dominate. Especially the Broncos. But Bo Nix did just enough in this game to keep it close, which is all that you need to do when you're playing the Chiefs. Like, you either blow them out or keep it super close. Because if they're working with a lead, they're harder to beat. And that's true. That's true for a lot of teams, but it's really true for the Kansas City Chiefs. So Bo Nix led them on a drive, and with the last seconds of the game, Will Lutz kicked a 35-yard field goal to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Granted, the Chiefs didn't look as crisp or on the same page as they usually do in past seasons, but it's been like that all season long. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because they're getting people back, but they haven't been able to, do enough reps in the practice field or even on the field during the game to be able to coincide, be on the same page, have some chemistry there. But maybe the dynasty's over. Maybe we're looking at it right now of the decline of the Kansas City Chiefs. Not to sound like a homer. I mean, I know I usually do when I talk about the Michigans and I talk about the Detroit Lions and Detroit Pistons and the Tigers, but that was clearly not defensive pass interference. More like offensive pass interference on A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles Sunday Night Football against the Lions. Even Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico was like, that wasn't pass interference. Offensive maybe, but definitely not defensive pass interference. And that key play, I mean, granted, there was a lot of plays that the Lions fudged up, going on 4th down, going 0 for 5. I mean, after a few times, maybe, just maybe, not this time. But you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But that last play, if they would have not called that would have been, the Lions would have got the ball back. And who knows, they could have drove the length of the field and won the game. You never know. But that one call sealed the game. There was no coming back from there. They only had like one timeout left. So I guess it's still Detroit against everybody. Let's talk college football. NCAA football. Michigan took on Northwestern. They played at Wrigley Field, a neutral site in Chicago. They almost gave the game away multiple times. Had to drive at the end of the game to win on the last second field goal. Northwestern came to play because they needed only one more victory to be bowl eligible. So they played with heart, played with grit, and Michigan just kind of went through the motions and didn't realize that you need to show up every single Saturday. Michigan needs to do better. Like, way better than they did on Saturday. if they want to even compete, if they want to be competitive at all in the game in 2 weeks against the number one team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's be real. The Buckeyes are coming for blood. Like, they've been embarrassed since 2019. After all these memes, after all these signs people bring to WWE events or any events that you have a sign, and they've seen the memes. I swear they've seen the memes. That's been 2,175 days since OSU beat Michigan last. I'm sure in the back of his mind, Ryan Day is like, we're not going to have this happen. We're going to end this right now. And they'll do anything in their power to win that game on 11/29 at Michigan Stadium. I'll be watching. Best believe. I'll be watching. I'll be cheering on my Wolverines like I do every single week, regardless if they win, lose, draw. They're my team. But it's going to be a long Saturday. Like, it's going to be a long Saturday for Michigan. It's going to be a long Saturday for me. Because also at the end of the night, I got Survivor Series War Games later that day to watch, live from San Diego, California. One more nugget from this week's NCAA. Both the Oklahoma Sooners and the Georgia Bulldogs look good this week. And the college playoffs looking, this year at least, is looking highly competitive with a lot of teams vying for those spots. At least on paper. And I love competition. I love competitive games. What I hate the most in a postseason game is a blowout. Like, there's no point of watching the game when Team A beats Team B by 40. That's not fun in the postseason. In week 1, week 5, week 12, sure. But the playoffs, the postseason, where you're supposed to have the best of the best competing, and one team is just clearly way better than the other team, the committee must have got those right or wrong, because maybe those teams were mediocre and they had an easy schedule and they're undefeated or one loss and won their conference, but they're not good enough to be on the top echelon of college football teams. You know, like it's not fair for the playoffs to have blowouts until the championship game. Like, then you shouldn't even have the playoffs. You just took the top two teams like you've done in years past, and they're the title game. Like, there's no point of, like, yeah, blowouts are terrible. Blowouts are terrible in NBA. Blowouts are terrible in NFL. It's just, you look at it and you're like, well, why am I still watching this if they're up by 40? It's just, it's a wasted time, and it just shows. I like competition. I love when it's a close game and they win or lose on the last second of the game. I don't like watching the game that's already over by the first quarter, and that's just how I feel. Here's my favorite segment of the week: Elephant in the Room. But this week I'm doing a little bit different. In honor of John Cena's last 3 dates on his retirement tour, he has one tonight, he has one in San Diego at Survivor Series, and then he has his final match. So I'm going to do the 5 best matches or segments that I've seen live in the building. No particular order, just 5 things. So the first one is a match. It was John Cena taking on The Rock in the very first match between the two. They coined it as once in a lifetime. We all know that's a lie because they literally did that same match the next year at WrestleMania 29. But I was live in the building, WrestleMania 28 in Miami. And I was wearing my Rock shirt, and my son was wearing his John Cena shirt. So it was, it was awesome. Seeing John Cena take on The Rock being his hometown of Miami, taking out John Cena, and John Cena had that look. Rumor has it, after that match, he was supposed to turn heel. I wish they would have did that. He talked about, he even had music, new gear, all that stuff. What if, right? Number 2, Cena versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. I mean, honestly, I thought Bray Wyatt should have won that match. John Cena got nothing from beating Bray Wyatt. It might have hurt Bray Wyatt at the time, and he had to come back and reinvent himself, which he's good at doing, being the Fiend and doing all that stuff. But John Cena should have lost this match. And in history, John Cena should have lost a lot more matches to a lot more up and coming wrestlers, because sometimes losing to John Cena kind of puts a halt on any respect, anything that the audience would gravitate to and be like, oh man, Bray Wyatt beat John Cena. Wow, I'm going to pay attention to this guy. He beat the guy. So now he's the guy. Number 3, John Cena versus Dave Bautista in an I Quit match for the world title at Over the Limit in Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Live in the building. And this match was crazy. I mean, I didn't think John Cena was going to beat Batista. I didn't see they were going to have the animal say, I quit. But when he brought him on top of a car and threatened to throw him through the stage, and he quit like fast, and he still did it, yeah, that's a John Cena I like. So number 4, John Cena versus JBL with Shawn Michaels in his corner at the Royal Rumble 2009, live from Joe Louis in Detroit. This match beforehand was Shawn Michaels was broke and he needed money, and JBL was like, well, if you help me win the world title, you can be my little servant, little houseboy. So Shawn Michaels did what he was supposed to do. He tried. He kicked them both, but he put JBL's unconscious body on top of John Cena for a 2 count. And then John Cena Super Cena it up, because this is Super Cena time. Ain't nobody beating Super Cena. Nope. I mean, nowadays, it's not a crazy thing to see John Cena lose a match. But in the 2000s, 2009, yeah, he wasn't losing that match. Number 5. It's not really a match. It's one of those moments. But it was a cool moment. It was Monday Night Raw at Little Caesars Arena, 2006. No, it was in Joe Louis, 2016, July 11th, on Raw. Enzo and Cass were getting beat up by AJ Styles and the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows. And earlier in the night, they said John Cena was off filming, I think, the VMAs or the Nickelodeon things or something like that, and he won't be there he won't be in the building. So I was bummed. I was like, man, John Cena's not gonna be here. I like hearing all that. John Cena sucks. All that stuff. John Cena's he's the GOAT. But as soon as Enzo and Cass was getting beat up, John Cena's music hit, and he's running down the aisleway like he always does, even the score, and like that was a really cool moment. I always been surprised when I watch it on TV, surprise returns or run-ins or stuff like that. But this is one of the few times where I've seen it live and in person. And if you have any inclination of seeing a wrestling event, see one live, see a Raw, see a SmackDown, heck, see a house show, and it will change the way you feel about wrestling, because the emotion, the hype from the crowd, from the athletes in the ring, they put in work, and they do it for each and every one of you. And I respect the heck out of every single wrestler that's ever laced the boot, from John Cena down to Dirty Dominic Mysterio, down to Javon Evans, to Trick Williams, to Obafemi, to Ricky Saints. Like, they all put in work. Rhea Ripley's, the Io Skies, the Becky Lynch's, the Stephanies. Like, they put their bodies on the line, their health, their livelihood, for entertaining every member of the WWE universe, and you can't you can't duplicate that without going to one of these events live. And trust me, you will be a fan. Like you will see what they do, and you will love it, just like I love it, just like my son loves it, just like millions, maybe even billions of people who watch this product. Maybe not just WWE, but AEWs, the ROHs, the TNAs. People love wrestling, and don't judge people and call it fake, because no one goes to you and say, "Oh, you see that Law and Order episode, or you see the Avengers movie? There ain't no aliens. There's no superheroes. There's no rich guy with a super suit named Iron Man." So don't come to me and say that vicious F word, because I don't do it with yours. Just uh, go out of your way and see it, and then you can come back to me and tell me how you feel about that. And if you feel the same, then so be it. But most people who've seen a Raw, a SmackDown, a house show live in person instantly becomes a fan, because the atmosphere is not duplicated literally anywhere. Like, I've been to sporting events, I've been to playoff games, I've been to WrestleManias. I compare them all with the crowd, and the crowd for a wrestling event is immeasurable. How excited they get just from hearing Ifya or the dong or the glass shatter. Like, you can't duplicate this, and trust me, you will be a fan for sure. So let's get these power rankings started. Let's start with the NFL. Number one on my list for the power rankings, it's got to be the Buffalo Bills. Josh freaking Allen. Looked like the MVP. I mean, I know he is. He's the reigning, defending MVP. But he put on a show. He's playing sharp. He is willing this team to win. He wants Super Bowl or bust. This man had 6 total touchdowns. 3 in the air, 3 on the ground. You can't ask for much more than that from your quarterback. He did it all that day. Number 2, the Colts. Yes, they were on a bye, but they were number 2 last week, and they're staying the same. Number 3, the Broncos. I said last week that the Broncos doing enough to win the games against, the 2-7 Raiders at the time. But this week was going to be their test. They were having the Kansas City Chiefs come in, and Bo Nix did what he had to do and came away with a W in the last seconds of the game to win the game. And like I've said before, it ain't about how you win. It's all about that W. Then you had New England Patriots, Drake May, and Trevon Henderson, who had 3 rushing touchdowns, tied with the Broncos for the best record in the NFL. That's crazy. That's wild. And then you got the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, they beat the Lions. Play calling for the Lions aside, because that play calling was I don't know. It was not like it was last week. It was ugh. But they did just enough, and they lead the NFC conference. So, I mean, they did what they had to do, and with the pass interference aside, the Lions should have did a lot more other things with the 3 other quarters, and it shouldn't have been in a position to have the refs affect the game that much. But here's my honorable mention for this week. The Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams and his Chicago Bears are the sole possession of first place in the NFC North. Yeah, they lead the division. That's crazy to think about, that the Bears, where they were to start the season and where they are right now, they could make a deep run in the playoffs. Like, wow. That's nuts. Well, here's the power ranking. Moving on, power ranking for the NBA. Number one, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 6-0 at home, 7-1 on the road, 13-1 overall. The top of the NBA standings for both conferences, just the West. Number two, you got Detroit Pistons. They're currently on a 9-game winning streak, 7-1 at home, 4-1 on the road, 11-2 record overall with the second best record in the NBA and the top of the Eastern Conference right now. Then you got San Antonio Spurs, 7-2, 5-0 at home, 2-2 on the road. And you got Wemby doing not just Wemby things, but unicorn things. And he's not going to put up with anybody's sass, as he did with Draymond Green when they played the Golden State Warriors the other night. He's too tall for Draymond to be talking smack, but that's what Draymond does. It kind of reminded me of that scene from Bad Boys when John Sally was talking trash to Martin Lawrence, and Martin Lawrence was like, "I will beat you up," and looking straight up because that's how I look. Because Wemby is tall. Number 4, the Denver Nuggets. Currently on a 4-game win streak, 6-0 at home, 4-2 on the road, 10-2 overall, and Jokic. Enough said. Number 5, the Los Angeles Lakers. You got Luka, you got Austin Reeves keeping this team in every single game that they compete in. And then, crazy, the GOAT, the guy, LeBron James, is about to come back. He just started practicing. He was in the G League, which was ironic. Side tangent. But it was kind of ironic that he was starting in the G League and Bronny James was starting for the Lakers. Wild. Not on my bingo card. But LeBron James is about to start practicing with his team soon, so any day now, LeBron could be back. So they're a nice 10-4 right now, and with LeBron James, maybe they'll keep this up, and maybe Luka, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Lil Bronny James. I mean, he's not going to factor in any of this, but it could be a title town again in the City of Angels. So keep an eye out for that, because LeBron James, he has less time in front of him than he does behind him, and you got to cherish every moment that you see him lace up his shoes and goes out the court. And like I said about the wrestlers earlier, they're putting their bodies on the line not for them, but to entertain. All sports is entertainment. If sports were not entertaining and just boring, no one will watch sports. But sports it's entertainment. So enjoy the ride, because LeBron James is not going to be here forever. Here's my MVP rankings for the NBA currently. You got Luka Doncic. He's averaging 34.4 points per game, 8.9 boards a game. And the Lakers are 10-4. You know? So Luka's doing Luka magic for sure. And then you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, reigning MVP, averaging 32.6 points a game. And the OKC is a lowly 13-1. Then you got Nikola Jokic, the original unicorn, averaging 28.7 points per game, 13 boards per game, 10.9 assists per game. Oh, triple-double. And the Denver Nuggets are 10-2. My sleeper, as I stated before last week, Cade. I mean, he number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons, 11-2, 27.5 points a game, 9.9 assists, 5.3 rebounds a game. Come on, man. This young fella is doing his thing, and right in front of you, appreciate what he and Detroit Pistons are doing right now. It might not last all season, but I have a feeling it will. And I have a feeling that they're going to be like deep in the playoffs, and they're going to do something that people aren't going to expect. And watch out for the Pistons, because you don't want none of this. This is Detroit. But there you go. That's episode 4 in the books. So, Don't forget to like, subscribe to my page. Got questions, comments? Email me at bishopsbreakdown@gmail.com or post a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If I get enough questions, I answer them on the show. As I end every episode with this quote from the Never Seen 17, the last real champion, John Cena, and who only has 3 appearances left before you can't see him. Control the controllables. Well, this is Bishop. Whether it's on the court, on the gridiron, or in the ring, I will break it down Chris Jericho style. Deuces.